Thanks a lot for staying with us. Well, let's talk about the ongoing controversy, this particular spate of controversy now, as the Magistrate Court in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, has reserved its ruling and adjourned the bail application of human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi to Friday, December 20, 2024. Well, that ruling now means Mr. Farotimi will remain in custody for another 7 days, prolonging his wait for justice and freedom. Mr. Farotimi had pleaded not guilty to a 14-count charge leveled against him at the Ekiti State Magistrate Court. Meanwhile, a coalition of 95 civil society organizations have condemned the recent arrest, detention, persecution, and alleged torture of the human rights lawyer. The legal battle between Mr. Farotimi and legal luminary Afe Babalola SAN has now drawn significant public attention, with the latest development signaling a prolonged courtroom tussle. Let's talk about this now, bringing in via Zoom from the U.S. convener, Social Rehabilitation, Grace and Support Initiative, Dr. Oludare Maridoti. It's good to have you join us again. How are you observing happenings around this latest legal drama involving two of its own, two members of the same profession?
Thank you, Femi, and thank you, Brian, for having me. Personally, if we want to compare both of them, Dele Farotimi is one of those few people that, watching him in the past 3 years has really irked me. Like, his assertions are very, very flamboyant. He makes a lot of wild allegations without, any thought for, the veracity of what he's saying. And, in contrasting that to that of Afe Babalola, who is a legal luminary, a 95-year-old man, a philanthropist. He has a facility in Ekiti that even I this year have sent patients to, who's done a lot for the society. So, we can't really compare the caliber of the two men. But personally, however, one thing that I, despise more than a loudmouth outfit lawyer, which is what I think Dele Farotimi is a bully. And this is why I am not personally in support of what is going on with him. Because, it was Idi Amin in the 70s or 60s that said you have freedom of speech, but freedom after speech is what I can't guarantee. Now, Dele Farotimi has exercised his freedom of speech in saying things that, quote unquote, are probably false. But does he have the freedom after speech? He is incarcerated now, will be for maybe about 20 days over the emotions of one man. Now, I know that they will say that we have criminal, libel in our laws, but there was also a case a few months ago where a guy called Very Blockhead defamed a legal luminary called Femi Falana, who is also from Ekiti State. And the man chose the decent action, which was not to pursue criminal libel, because just because a statute is in the law, that does not mean you should pursue it. In the United States, 16 states still have adultery as a crime that you can go to jail for. But people don't go and prosecute people for committing adultery. So the fact that we have criminal libel does not mean a legal luminary like a 95-year-old Afe Babalola, who has had an illustrious career, should pursue that option. And if you are talking about defamation, I don't see anyone that has defamed Afe Babalola more than the actions of Afe Babalola and his lawyers. Because if you can count defamation by the copies of books sold, he has ensured that this book has sold more than 10 times what he sold before he took him to court. Even I myself right now, I have my own copy. I thought I kept it within my, and I'm rich, but it's far away there. I bought my own copy too on Amazon. You don't have the jurisdiction to even restrict the distribution of this book. I got my own hard copy. I bought it on Kindle. I ordered it online. I now want to know what Dele Farotimi is talking about, because he said the Nigerian legal system is corrupt, right? And then you are using that same system against him to keep him behind bars. So it is like what Yoruba will say, that You have not even left the witch doctor's house, but his prescriptions are already coming to pass.
So going by your argument, Dr. Marindos, going by your argument, are you saying that it should have been handled, differently, apart from, taking to the court of law? Because that is the final arbiter. You can't just take decision, in your own hands. You have to go through the courts. So are you saying because he has accused the judiciary of corruption, then they should not go to court? Probably they should go to the street or maybe look for alternative rather than using the courts. Is that the point?
No, that's not the point. I'm saying there are two ways to pursue justice for every situation. Now, you can go the criminal way, which is that the state is acting, a crime is a crime is prosecuted by the state. The state is acting to protect the public. So they prosecute crime. This is a private matter. Dele Farotimi said things. Afe Babalola felt those things, demean him. They malign his character. This is a personal thing that he should have gone to court and pursued in a civil manner, like Femi Falana did, and get a judgment. And so Farotimi, for every single cover that he has, collect his house, collect his wife, collect everything that he has, make him beg for his next meal. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it has to be a private.
Yeah, I understand, but collecting his wife is another thing that no one to agree with.
I was just joking. I was just joking. Right. I was just joking. No, I was just being superlative in my claims. But that is what you do. Criminal libel is against the freedom of speech that it is enshrined as your constitutional right. Those laws were written before we had the Constitution. So the way you are supposed to go about it is in the civil domain. Now we have the Ekiti State government is spending the resources of the Ekiti State people to pursue and protect the integrity of one man. Yes, he is a respected member of the society, but it is not the society. He is just a member of the society. And currently, in my own estimation, Afe Babalola has lost more than he can ever win. He has turned Dele Farotimi, who I find objectionable. He has turned Dele Farotimi, who I personally find, someone like me personally find objectionable, to a victim. He has made him a matter of the system that he's complaining about. He has elevated his book. There are some times where if you see someone slinging mud, you walk away from them. You don't go into the mud and start dragging with them. They won't be able to tell the difference between the pig and the normal human being. And which is what he has done by going to court to criminally prosecute him. Do you know how many times Dele Farotimi called President Tinubu names during the last election? When he called, Chief Ruben Fashion-Roti of Ondo State, when the faction of Afenifere endorsed President Tinubu, he called them a lot of wild names. He alleged them of so many things. In this one, I read the book. I've not completed reading it. I just bought it. He was saying that Chief Afe Babalola corrupted the Supreme Court. And I know so many people on this channel, including BQ and all, have said that you have to provide proof of money. But you don't need money to corrupt something. When some people kidnapped the father of Okonjo-Iweala a few decades ago, they were trying to corrupt her. They were not giving her money. If your father sits on your case in court, despite evidence and acquits you, that has been corrupted without any transfer of money. So whatever the case may be, the best way to pursue this thing is in the civil courts, where you take his money, where as a matter of fact, it will be Dele Farotimi that will want to publicize the fact that Afe Babalola sued him for 500 million or 1 billion, and nobody will give him, audience. But the fact that you have got to take him from Lagos State, you didn't stop in Ogun, you didn't stop in Ibadan, you didn't stop in Osun, you didn't stop in Ondo, you went all the way to Ekiti State, where.
But then, how you seek to wash yourself clean of some of these debts that have been thrown at you? The fact that the President Bola Tinubu during electionary didn't probably act, and then in fact decided to stay away from social media because according to him they abused the hell out of him and didn't even say anything, but he just looked the other way. It doesn't mean that others have developed that thick skin to be able to look away or look the other way. So how you want to pursue your case to show that yes, I am not what you called me. This is who I really am, especially with the reputations I've built over the years. I don't think you should blame someone like that for taking that kind of decision, because he will must come to Ekiti. I mean, he will come to Ekiti, must come with clean hands. So if you have alleged, you have to be able to prove. And I guess that is exactly what he's asking Dele Farotimi to do.
So, yes, what I would first say, one of the reasons I ever got involved in politics was because President Tinubu was being bullied during that election. That was the reason why I got involved personally, and I fought a lot of his enemies personally with my own resources. One of the reasons I started supporting my state governor because he was being bullied in Ondo State. There are a lot of ways for you to handle this thing. First off, if you feel you must defend him, you can ignore. Ignoring is a strategy, right? But if you feel you want to push him, taking him to court for a civil defamation and collecting money is enough proof that you are being vindicated. He had to pay you. That is enough proof. When you look at this whole case, the fact that the Ayabala took him to court, he elevated him. That is just what happened. Maybe it was an unintentional elevation, but what he did was he elevated Dele Farotimi, who was supposed to be a nobody. Now everybody all over the world will say a man wrote a book about the judicial system of Nigeria, and that same system is being used against him. That is the narrative. So right now, this action makes his allegation look more credible. Allegations that were so bogus. You could have left him in the rank of a sore loser. He lost a case against you, and then without any evidence, he is alleging that you have you have corrupted the courts. He never had evidence. But now, when Babalola says he defamed him, in defamation case, I'm not a lawyer, but people say I should. In defamation case, you are the one that have to prove the burden of damage. You have the burden of proof to prove the damage that he has done to you. If he wants to claim that what he says is true, that is when he has to come up with his own burden of proof. So what if he says, yes, Babalola, show me your bank account between these days. That is my proof of you corrupting the court, because I've seen evidence there. The Baba will not want to release his bank account. These things are best dealt with the way Femi Falana dealt with that very blockade.
Okay.
You put him in his place.
Dr. Maridoti, I purposely, allowed you, to continue to get sense. That's why you're here, really, to speak, to these issues. But then we have to be careful, because it's an ongoing matter. Several courts are now involved. It has even gone beyond Ekiti State, where it first started. Afe Babalola has even gone on to institute a civil action on the matter, in line with what you are saying in Abuja. And we understand that the FCT High Court has even gone on to declare a seizure of all the books, of all these books. You've also, alluded to that. And then even in Oyo State, another lawyer has gone on to court accusing Mr. Farotimi of defamation. So there are so many dimensions to it. We possibly not have our time to talk about them. And by the way, it is a matter already in court. But let's look at some social issues now that have erupted from all of this, because we even speak, the issue of jurisdiction is also another issue. Criminal defamation, as you have said, it remains to be seen whether indeed the magistrate court now hearing the matter in Ekiti State is even in line with the law, whether it has the jurisdiction to hear this matter, seeing as we are hearing from some sides that the criminal defamation has since been outlawed, so to speak, in Ekiti State. But let's wait till next week when the matter continues. In terms of this court order ordering the police to go and seize all the books, all the copies of this book now written by Mr. Farotimi, how far do you think this will go in the controversy at hand?
Thank you very much. That was also one thing that I was going to mention. I do believe that in a democracy, you are assumed innocent until proven guilty. However, it seems as if there is a judgment already on the book because it is being frozen. That means that maybe Farotimi never even had the chance to defend himself or to to defend the fact that he does not. Maybe he has evidence. He does not even have a chance right now because they have already gone against the book. So what if he wins the case in court? I think his case is weak. I think he's not going to win it because he definitely cannot prove all the wild allegations, and Baba has the right to go against him in a civil way. I'm just saying that we don't want a case in a country whereby journalists like yourself can be prosecuted for saying something that offends someone. That should be the neutral thing. Let's assume I tell a lie against you. You stole meat from my pot. I have defamed you. Should the state now use the Nigerian police force to go after me and get me arrested because I lied that you stole meat in my pot? Maybe you are connected to the commissioner of police in your state. Should that be the standard in a democracy? I find this man objectionable. I don't like him. But the truth must be said. We have now elevated him to a place whereby someone like me, that I find him as a loud man, I am now sympathetic to his cause. In my class, my final year, my medical school WhatsApp group, almost all of us have bought the book because we want to know what he said that triggered someone so much that the man is now being arrested. That is the unintended consequences of such actions. Now they are trying to ban the book and trying to seize copies. So people are even rushing to quickly buy it before it gets seized from the shelves because they really want to know. They now believe that there is truth in what he has said. I saw the interview that he did with the Channel TV interviewer. I looked at it for maybe 5 seconds. I just disputed this guy started with all his, phantom ideas of, corruption or whatever. Everything is illegality. He likes that particular word. But now I have gone back to watch that interview and everything because these actions make him look credible. You are not supposed to do it. It is a wrong strategy. You may. That's why I said Afebalola has lost more than he can ever win from this case. He has already at this point. There's nothing.
I'm sorry, Ibrahim, but to what extent do you agree with some groups, right groups like Hurua, saying that they too also condemn the approach the court has taken in, ordering a seizure of the book, saying it hampers on intellectual freedoms and that the otherwise should happen so as to allow for a robust debate in the society and for society to grow and evolve. Do you agree with that assertion?
Yes, I do. There are so many people that write books and tell lies about history. Do you go and seize those books from the market? They've gone on to
say that anyone that feels aggrieved should write their own version of what happens. What good do you think that will do?
Yes, that is it. There is always a counter narrative about everything in life. Even in America, some people are trying to deny the history of racism, say slaves benefited. There are these things that are there. Even if they want to go after the book and seize it, at least convict him on that defamation first. At least you will wait. It is after you are convicted. It is a part of the judgment that you are now going to say you want to go and seize the book. Now they've gotten an interlocutory injunction. What is the imminent harm that sale of an extra copy of that book is going to cause to the reputation of Afebalola? What is that imminent harm? So the fact that the judge or the justices agreed to that particular order also will smell foul in the eyes of an independent observer who is not a party to this case. I know people might have sentiments from one side or the other side, but anybody who is independent will see reasons in the side of Dele Farotimi because now they have gone after his book. They said they said he lied. They have not given him. They told him to go and bring evidence, but they incarcerated him. They have not even given him a day in court, a chance to defend himself. They have already gone to effect a judgment after a book that he wrote, which is the basis of all this conversation that we are talking about. So we have to look at propriety. That is why a lot of people have used this criminal libel to silence even journalists. And this is not what we want in a democracy. You cannot use the instruments of the state to defend the integrity of a man.
Well, in this case, it's not a man, because Kemi just rightly pointed to the fact that there was another person in Oyo State who had also gone to the court. So it's not just about one person. In fact, the judiciary as an institution is also involved in this matter. So it's more like when Are Afebabalola is done with his own maybe trial or anything, then the next person takes it up, another person, about 13 or 14 of them who are probably waiting for, this case. So it's really going to be a long-drawn battle between Mr. Farotimi and other people who are involved. So, but how do you think one should have, you've been, rationalizing it about how we can, how they should have gone about the matter. But how does Nigeria's defamation law compare to global practices? What are the lessons that we can learn from, okay, if this were to be United States of America where you are, or in the United Kingdom, or in France, etc., this is the way they would have handled it. Could you just help us compare global practices in terms of handling defamation laws vis-a-vis that of Nigeria's?
Thank you very much for mentioning that. The judiciary is an arm of government, so the judiciary as itself cannot sue, because then it cannot be a judge and jury at the same time, right? And yes, each of them are a man. So when they go and pursue criminal, defamation, they use the instrument of the state. It is the same thing that Davido did to Dami Crane. It is what Burna Boy did to Speedy Darlington. Burna Boy even sang about it, that if you don't get money, you call police and they laugh you. So these things, smell fish. But when we talk about criminal defamation in a global practice all over the world, criminal defamation, and this is part of one of the things why I respect, S.A. Femi Falana, because he was one of the people that worked, according to what he said, to get criminal defamation outlawed in Lagos and some other states, and he's still continuing it all across Africa, because criminal defamation is an attempt by the rich and powerful to silence speech and criticism. Because there are some times whereby you cannot prove something wrong, but you can't prove it right. And those are where people get acquitted and all, because there has to be a burden of proof. In a civil case, you don't need that same high burden of proof. It is essentially, when there's what's it called? If Babalola can prove that the reputation of tarnished, which is easy to prove, he gets money. But now you have to prove a burden of proof beyond reasonable doubt in a criminal case. So that is why criminal libel has been outlawed all over the free world. I'm pretty sure a place like Russia or China will probably still have these laws in their book, because they are more authoritarian in their rule. But in democracies, we cannot have a man. My emotions should not be able to jail you, Ibrahim. My emotions should not be able to jail you, Femi. Just because you said something that made me angry, you should not lose your liberty. You might lose your money. You might lose your car. You might lose your house. Those are things that you acquired, but your liberty should always be yours. And that is what I am trying to say here. This is why I feel like journalists all over the country should not show positive sentiments towards this, because it can be weaponized against them too. And we don't want a situation in our country where journalists will report something and then they will tell you, go and bring proof. It's not everything that you report that you are going to prove.
All right. So this is big right now. This is one of the biggest legal dramas that we might yet be witnessing. And we've also heard about personalities, including politician Peter Obi making entreaties to Are Babalola on Dele Farotimi's behalf. But do you see a truce in all of this? Do you see them reaching a truce?
Personally, I don't understand people of these entities. I don't want a truce in this case. From a personal point of view, I think I've said this story before. The beards on my jaw is my symbol of defiance. When one of my boss told me to go and cut it, you don't kowtow to bullies. You stand up to them. If someone is trying to bully you, stand up to them. So, in my own opinion, I don't like Dele Farotimi as a person. But if he will listen to me, he should not compromise. Let them bring hell and fire and thunder and
within the confines of the law.
Let them bring everything. Yes, within the confines of the law. Let them bring everything for you. You stand there. You are a man. You stand. You die where you stand. You don't kowtow because you are being bullied. Because you are being bullied. It is simple. That is why he has been deprived his liberty. He has done what I feel is wrong. They should take all his money, seize his house, let him beg for his next meal. That is what you do to someone who libels
even at that, he still has his rights, you know. So I know you've said how you feel against the Dele Farotimi personality, right. But then we also need to be mindful of what we say. This is an international platform, Dr. Diary. So let's be mindful of that. As saying that you want him to beg for his next meal, I think we are overreaching it.
No, what I'm just saying is if you sue him for money and you take all his money, I am being superlative with that if you have taken 100 billion from him or whatever they sue him for, he may not have money to feed. That's what I mean. Not that they will go and do anything to him, physically. So I'm still talking in line of that civil suit.
Right.
That is how to address it.
That's right. So now there is the area of Babalola. There is, I've forgotten the name in Oyo State, the one who has just gone to court on Dele Farotimi's case issue. And there is also the judiciary institution. How do you think we can balance unsubstantiated allegations? Because as it stands now, it is not substantiated, just like you've also agreed, such as those reportedly made by Farotimi and some other people who might be thinking of, oh yes, I have the linguistic license, I have the freedom to publish anything that I feel that it's not probably correct or right, and then you make such allegations as against protecting the judiciary. Such institution we've been shouting about integrity, corruption, etc., judicial reform and all of that. How do you think we can balance this so that at the end of the day, we have the public looking at judiciary as, yes, this is where I can go to get my rights, sustained?
Yeah, when it comes to the judiciary, to me, I feel it's judiciary holding itself to a high standard. I mean, we talk about judicial freedom from the executive. What about judicial freedom from the judiciary, whereby judges are probably maybe are scared of ruling a certain way because of fear from punishment from the judicial council or whatever. There are so many. The only way they can do it is earn the people's trust. You can't force that. Everybody that is going to sue that has been mentioned, they can take Dele Farotimi to court in a civil case and keep taking money from him. That is how you are supposed to do it. That is how I believe they will be able to. When you make libel expensive, one of the reasons why Joe Biden gave clemency to his son and all was because they believe that the Trump administration is going to go after him and make him spend money and make him go broke from paying lawyers. This is not going to be a cheap expedition for Dele Farotimi. So by the time he's defending himself in Ibadan, defending himself in Abuja, defending himself in a libel civil court case, that is the deterrence that you give people from publishing obviously false statements and maligning you. And that is why it was a sensible thing for, like I said, the example Femi Falana to have done against the internet guy that just made wild allegations against him. So that is the way we can defend the integrities of people. Make it expensive. If TVC should violate some things, the communication, what's it called, Nigerian Corruption Commission will fine you. That is why you corruption me if I say some things because you don't want to get fined. That is the same thing that we are talking about. If Dele Farotimi has said something that has caused damage to Babalola, he does not even need to prove that what he said is wrong. He just needs to prove that, yes, what you have said has caused me damage. Dele Farotimi is the one that needs to use truth as his own defense. So that is how you stop people from feeling like I can write words, let me just tell lies. But we cannot have a country whereby telling lies will put you behind bars, unless if that lie is going to disrupt public order. Like they have always said, you cannot go to a theater and yell out fire, fire, fire. You are going to jail. You cannot go to an airport and yell out bomb, bomb. You are going to jail because you're going to use that one to disrupt public order. What Dele Farotimi has said has not in any way, shape, or form disrupted public order. He made wild allegations. He should pay for it, but his liberty should never be infringed on.
All right. Dr. Oludare Maridoti, that would be a fine place to, rest our conversation today. We wait and see what the courts will have to say to all of this and help, to sanitize what we're seeing at the moment. We thank you very much for speaking to us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.